Welcome everyone to our StatBoard presentation here. It's statistics and dashboards for primarily to start off with transportation departments. I'm Sonia Mastros, the president of Orbit Software. We provide BusBoss as our flagship product for planning and routing all your and scheduling of your students' bus routes. But you're going to see along the way there's going to be a couple other types of dashboard statistics that you can take over to other departments as well. But we'll start off with the transportation one. This has been a VIP invite only to BusBoss current customers. So once we get things going with our customers, then we can start inviting others in. Presenting today is James Regan. Jim is the president of SBU SBI. It's a business analytics firm, and he's a partner in NAPTBI, which is NAPT's business intelligence entity. He's been supporting transportation companies and school districts in their data analytics strategy and implementation efforts. He's been doing this for more than 20 years, so he knows what he's talking about here. Gabby Gustali, something like that. she can introduce herself when she starts talking. She's the client services and product manager for SBU SBI. She oversees all of the StatBoard development and enhancement efforts. So she's the expert behind the scenes, getting all of this information together and templates together for everyone to use. She's been supporting the clients in increasing their business intelligence capabilities for over 3 years. Now we're gonna go along and Jim's gonna be presenting and jumping in, and Gabby's gonna be showing some of the templates. We are going to be answering questions along the way. There's gonna be a couple stops along the way. So there is a chat box that if you'd like to enter your questions, we will be sure to get to them at each break in the slideshow here. So please do. All your feedback is definitely appreciated, and any questions you have in clarifying. Things could get a little techy, so I want to make sure you understand what this is about. So Jim, if you're ready to go, here we go.
Okay. Gabby is our slideshow navigator. So Gabby, let's go to slide 1 and let's get started.
It's on 1 on my end. Can you guys see the product slide?
Not yet. Did you hit your arrow over or just your mouse click?
Just hit the arrow.
Click on the screen. Maybe that'll work. No?
I'm moving between the slides, and it's on the product page for mine. See what else I could do.
There you go. We see it now. It was a little delayed probably. Yep. So go back to product.
Yeah, it must be super delayed because I'm on a way different screen now. So just bear with me for a second. Can you see the product slide now?
No, it's still on focus. It's still on the focus. So it'll get there soon. If you're on product, it'll get there. Something's a big delay. Maybe there's a lot of attendees or something slowing it down for us. So, Jim, if you want to talk a little bit about it before it just gets on there, please do start.
Yeah, we'll just kind of get started here. Basically, StatBoard is a data toolkit. It's been created by transportation managers. StatBoard has been working with school districts in the U.S., and these templates have been developed in conjunction with other school districts. The toolkit consists of a set of adjustable templates and dashboards, which, as you'll find out later, you can adapt and customize to your own district very easily. So are we on the focus now, Gab?
We're on the product page still, but I can move to the next slide.
Just stay on the focus then.
Okay. Basically, the focus of StatBoard is transportation. The templates being offered in this program, are the onboard driver evaluation and safety tracking. Again, these two templates are being offered complimentary to all BusBoss users, along with Gabby's support to make them operational. 2 seconds of history. The onboard evaluation has been developed with districts who have onboard instructors or trainers who go on a bus and evaluate driver performance. And then safety tracking, is a safety audit template, and you'll see what it does in a little bit. So next slide.
Okay. On the next one for me. So I don't know if you guys don't see it. I don't know if Sonia, you'd like to try to share the presentation. You have the updated one though.
I don't have the updated one, so just move on to it until it'll catch up, I hope. But send it to me if you want. I'll get it on mine.
Okay. The driver on, and again, in one of the districts for the onboard driver evaluation, it was done in, it kind of was an extensive, one district uses it for state reporting, but it comes with metric scores and itemized analytics. On the safety template, it tracks accidents by type, by driver, by road type, accidents by time of day. It also kind of gives you a preventative analysis in terms of who's on fault, were citations issued, and so forth. Basically, when these were developed, I'm at the next slide, the starting point, Gabby, if you get there, but I'll just give you some more background. The starting point for the districts who have worked with us in developing these are school districts that had a strategy for being a smarter organization. In many cases, the transportation directors were, I don't know, veterans of 20 years or more. And they said to us, all the knowledge of the operation is in our head, but soon when we retire or when we want to move on, they want to empower their staffs to begin to use the data to make decisions. So they had to commit to leaving the old school methods behind and embrace the value of data in the decision making. In all the cases where we've used this successfully, the transportation director is the champion for the product. It's not just something you roll out, it's something that you have to make a commitment to. The other starting point is sort of a commitment to want to make data analytics a supervisory and management competence. It's that commitment to develop that capability within your teams. And then the other thing we've realized is transportation's a data-rich environment. Data talks to you. And what we're really doing with the other districts that we're working with is we're teaching them on how to listen to the data and then act upon it. So now I'm going to the preparation slide, Gabby. I don't know if you're there. Okay. It still says focus on ours. But when we work with these districts, these are kind of the steps we used to prepare them to use the templates. Number one, we have each of the supervisors create strategies for manager, supervisor, your maintenance manager, your dispatch manager. If you have a customer service manager who liaises with the district, all of the supervisors and managers sit down and they define success. And then they articulate kind of the metrics and the data that supports that. So when they define what success is, they then can say, okay, here's how I define it. Here's the metrics and the the numbers that I would like to see. The second step we did is we asked them to create their own dashboards with the metrics they selected. And so we actually created some algorithms and some formulas to help them create their own dashboards. So when they looked at it, they would create a sense of ownership. So it wasn't a system that was imposed upon them. There were metrics and dashboards that they had a sense of ownership into. The third thing is that by having, we wanted to have performance transparency. So what we did is we put all the documents on Google Drive, and every supervisor had access to each other's information. So it was sort of getting rid of the information silos. Finally, step 4 was we looked at common data management. And this was a fun thing to do. We had the supervisors go to each other's workstations and log into the other person's computer and ask them to find a file. And when they found it difficult to do so, we actually had a small sub-project to have the supervisors organize their files in a standardized format so that, if someone logged in, they could go in and find information in the event they were absent or on leave. And then basically we found ways in the day-to-day work life, and we created processes that require listening and using the data. The big one is that in the meeting system, the transportation directors require that the supervisors bring their dashboards and present their results at the monthly staff meetings. And so that's one of the ways we use them. We've worked in union and non-union environments, and we're asking supervisors to post data and share that with the workforce as well. What we're also doing, because we've actually done this for about 10 different functions within transportation. The safety and the driver evaluation are just two. But across the board, what we found is the goal was to digitize anything that was manual. So in the morning, we have a morning call-in sheet at a lot of the districts. We've put that in a Google form and digitized that so we can track the absence by age, by experience of driver, and all the different reasons. And so that's all automated. And so on this particular slide, you can see the manual form they used before and the new Google form that we're using with them. A question we ask them, if you're doing anything manually, whether it's a call-in sheet or a driver log, or you're logging in calls from parents or the school district themselves, we looked at a binder that had like 100 call-in sheets. This was in a dispatch, and we said, what did you learn from those 100 call-in sheets? And they said, well, nothing. They managed to do the functional part, which is if a driver called in, they were able to put a sub-driver on the route. But looking at those 100 sheets and using the data to understand what was going on in their transportation department was something we assisted doing them. So in this particular work with the Bus Boss customers, the process that we're going to use is, if you're interested, we'll give you access to the templates on Google Drive. You'll then upload some information. It's very easy to do it, and we have a little informative video to help you do that. You can then test the templates to see if they are totally suitable for you, but then you can make modifications. So in the driver evaluation, if there's something on the driver evaluation form that you don't care to measure, you can delete that question. If there's something that you want to add to the driver evaluation form, you can add it very easily as well. So all the forms are 100% adaptable to whatever you want them to be. And then once you have them adaptable to your particular transportation department, you can track your performance and use the data for prevention and development efforts. So those are kind of the steps. So you would say, hey, this looks pretty cool. Once you see the demo in a minute or two, you'd say, I'd like access. You go through them. You'd say, I'd like to modify them. You can work with Gabby, or you can make the changes yourself. You upload some information, and you have two of these templates, which are 100% yours to use. So at this point, I'm going to stop and maybe open it up for some questions on anything about the history of the development of the templates.
Well, right now I don't see any questions posted, but I do have a question myself. So do you have any going on right now? Any feedback on what you've done so far from using these kinds of templates? What exactly does it help with them to do?
What it does, it's by tracking in the accidents on the districts. One of the districts, their safety accidents and incidents have dropped by 60%. Vehicle breakdowns, where we started tracking vehicle breakdowns, dropped by 80% because they were able to identify the cause of the breakdowns. In one district, it was so successful that the whole district is talking about developing these types of templates and all of the other support functions like IT and buildings and grounds. But we also look on the safety side. When you look at the demerits or what people are marked off for, and you see it in total, the time between identifying an issue and training has been reduced extensively. So the net is, you get a safer driving team.
So in essence, you get a lot of data provided to you, but you try to pull out the real important data and kind of give them actionable items on what things to actually do with that data.
Yeah, and the data is fairly simple. I mean, and it's really straightforward. It's not complicated. When we do the demo, because this is on a Google platform, and Google Forms auto generates a lot of the graphs, and so and then you can cut and paste the graphs into any kind of management report you want. So and then when we do the demo, you'll see how easy it is to use. Okay.
Great, great. I don't see any other questions, so you can move on.
Okay, great.
Okay.
All right.
So
At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Gabby, who will then go online and do an online demo. Thank you, Gabby.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So when you start, you will receive access to a specific Google Drive folder with a specific folder for your school district. So today we're just going to use the StatBoard test folder. Inside, you will find the two templates that we're going to quickly go through today. You'll also find today's presentation and a folder of the tutorial videos Jim mentioned on how to edit your templates if you're not familiar with Google Forms or Google products, and just an overview of the driver evaluation and safety form I'm going to give today. So we'll just go through the driver evaluation form first. When you open up your Google form, if you're not familiar, you'll start and you'll be on the back end of the form, and that's when you can actually edit it. You can click on a section, you can delete a question by clicking the delete button, or you can type in a new questions there by it's pretty user friendly. But the form that we have to offer is comprehensive and they're baseline questions. So like Jim said, you can modify it to your specific needs. So I'm just going to go to the actual preview mode where you enter in the data. And to get to the preview mode, you'll always click the eyeball icon in the top right corner, and you'll be brought to where you can actually enter the data. So the data we have collecting here is the email address of the person entering the form, the date that the onboarding instructor is evaluating the driver, their onboarding instructor name, and there's like easy drop downs here, bus numbers, they would select that, they would select the driver name, the evaluation type, and then we have some categories. This form is a demerit-based system, so drivers are marked off for any missing tasks or failed tasks. So the sections that we have on this baseline form are pre-driving habits, starting the engine, a section on starting into traffic, pulling off the roadway, which is curb, turns, and they're tested on turning left and right, turns, complete turns, stopping, intersections, curve, lane changes, freeway. So we have a pretty extensive list, but obviously you can minimize it or add to it if you need to. We have an automatic failure section and a general driving behavior section. So, keep going, pick up, discharge, railroad, and turnaround. I think that's it. So questions 1 through 33 are they just are the demerit-based questions, and then we also have a driver quality section for a quality assurance, so it's more subjective qualitative data. Some sample questions here, like if the driver greeted or said farewell to the children, for questions about how they address student behavior. So it's pretty extensive, and then when the OBI is done evaluating the driver, they'll click submit, and if you're familiar with Google Forms, all the responses will be added to a responses tab. Let me see if I can show the responses.
While Gabby is jumping to the responses, in one of the districts, this form is on a tablet, And so, the onboard evaluator, whether it's a trainer or an onboard instructor, is doing the evaluation on the bus. And when they get back to the wireless environment of the facility, they push and into Google Forms. So
Okay,
the tabs automatically submitted.
my computer's freezing a little, but I'm trying to show some. Okay, so Google Forms automates their graph, so you can't really change like what type of graph, whether it's a pie graph or a bar graph. My computer's frozen. I apologize. It should update in a second. So if you go to the responses, the graphs that they automatically create, and you don't like what you see, for example, let's say there's a graph that's too busy and you want to be a little easier to understand. There's a way on the back end we've created some dashboards that are specific to you that are a little more easier to read, like I said. So, for example, one of the districts wanted to just calculate whether the driver was passing or failing based on if they were anything below 80%. They had received a fail grade. So we created a graph specific to that using the data that they entered. Or for example, another example is they wanted to see the demerits by section, and we were able to customize that for them. So
going back to about the value, if you go back to the graph on the section.
This one?
Okay, the demerits by section, but the guys that when you those, yeah, that one, when you saw that, and you can see the demerits by section, and that's that's all of the evaluation. You can obviously see particular training transportation department has their issues, and then they can immediately turn around and invoke some additional training, or where it indicates kind of a leading indicator of where they might have a safety issue. You can also, on your pass fail, they had 80%. You can adjust and set the standard any way you want. So if you want to have a pass fail and raise the bar to 85%, you can do that. So the standards are totally up to you to set. Thank you, Kathy.
Yeah, and before I move on to the safety form, if you guys had any questions, enter into the chat box. And Sonia, can you let me know if you see anything?
No, the only thing I see right now is Jim's voice was breaking up, but I think it's sounding a little better now. Jim, are you okay?
Okay, yeah.
The Wi-Fi, I think things went a little buggy there, but I think we're good now. Jim, you still there?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to move along to the safety form. Okay, so the same concept. When you click the link inside your folder for the safety form here, you'll be brought to the back end where you can edit anything. And then when I click the preview button to actually enter data, it'll look like this. The baseline form that we have collects the date of the accident or incident, the time of day, what route number or bus number was involved in the accident or incident, the driver's name, the driver type, whether it was sub-driver or bus aide, the number of students on board, the accident incident type, whether it happened while, or was a backing up issue, head on, what type of vehicles were involved, and then there's a short answer description of the accident. The location of the accident is here, whether it was on the highway, on school site facility, the road conditions. You can type in damaged area, whether it was preventable or not, where it was, if it was a route or field trip, if a police report was given or a citation, and if the driver was at fault or not. Once this form is submitted, you would be able to see the responses on the back end that Google automates for you. Just a sec, it's frozen again. And this will show all the accidents by time of day. For example, this one shows that most accidents occurred between 1 and 6 p.m. Um, this one, most accidents or incidents were with the driver and not sub-driver. Another. Where it was located. So this is, you can just see the graph allows you to assess for what training needs to happen. Jim, did you have anything else on safety?
If you go back by accidents by type, probably up a little bit higher.
Mm-hmm. Find it.
Okay. There we go. There's 14 different types of accidents that we classify. And if you wanted to add different types, again, but these are just templates. But you can see that units by type, and instantly a lot of backing accidents or a lot of accidents. You can get the cones out and start training your people on backing. It also indicates what and what routes have the most accidents. If you've got a long-term distance and you're seeing a lot of sub-drivers on a particular route, that may be a cause of why that route has more accidents or incidents, because you're rotating a lot of drivers through it. So all the visuals are there for each question, and then you can, if you were doing a PowerPoint report, if their supervisor, safety manager is doing a report to you, they can just cut and they can determine what graphs they want and which are most important to them. And then to actually, with a lot of the districts, standard management report. And that report, every supervisor has 3 or 4 pages, and they source reports every month. And within PowerPoint, those reports get automatically updated as well. So there's a lot of fun things that happen on the back end with a little training to make this easier and easier to use. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm looking for questions here, I guess. It doesn't look like we have any more questions. So you want to move on to benefits, or do you have more?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm sorry if I'm breaking up through the wireless, but as you can see, all the templates are adaptable. You can modify the forms, the metrics, and the dashboards. Gabby, you want to keep going on the next one? They're easy to use. They're Google products, so you're giving access to Google. The dashboards are used for reporting. If you have something in your department that's manual and you want to automate it, we can adapt this whole process basically to automate anything in your department that is it's being done manually now. And again, it's cost efficient. There's no additional software, and we're offering these templates free of charge to all BusBoss customers to get them out into the market and be tested with people like you to get your feedback. Thank you. And keep going, Gab. Okay. Again, going back to Sonia's earlier question, we've automated 10 or 12 different forms with transportation departments. The metrics are determined by you and your team, so they're meaningful. The data drives the training. We can see tangible improvement in the use of data by managers and supervisors, and it makes your department a more data-driven one. Are some of the kind of back-end benefits once the templates are used. Keep going. Is there another slide, Gabby? Oh, yeah. So
I'm on the summary slide now.
Okay, yeah. So basically, in summary, you kind of start with your staff. You do some preparation, and again, you can contact Gabby or myself, and we can give you some tools to help prepare your staff. You make it collaborative with them. You're giving data a voice in your department. You're improving data listening skills. And basically, by using the data, we find that people start trust what they hear data telling them. I've had transportation directors, tell me that they would have bet their life that absence was always highest on Monday and Friday. But when they saw the data in 2 of the districts, the highest absence day was actually Wednesday. So it's not believing your heart always, but kind of migrating back to the data. If you are interested, I think that's the next slide, in getting access to the templates, all you do is email Sonia and just request access to the templates. She'll contact Gabby. She'll email you and give you access to your personal folder as she described earlier. And then you'll have Gabby's email and phone number, for any support. And that formally concludes kind of the webinar within our 30-minute time frame. So again, if there's any questions, happy to answer them. And if they're not, and the templates are interesting to you, just email Sonia and we'll provide access. Sonia, back to you.
Yeah, so thank you everyone for attending here today. And like you said, I'm available through email or through a phone call. You guys have my number. So if you do want to set up a one-on-one with me or set up with me and Jim and yourself to go through this and see how we can get you signed up, it is free to get started. So you can try this out and see how it works for you. And then the 2 modules that he mentioned today are for free. And then we can add on, if you'd like, some additional modules and show you what those are. So you have my email address, you have my phone number. So thank you very much, everyone. And thank you, Jim and Gabby. That was awesome. I'm hoping we can get some people signed up for this so you can see the benefit of having your dashboards and your statistics handy to again, I never know what to do with all this data. So this is a good way of figuring out exactly what needs to be done and how to make things better. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.